This article is about the modern Frisians, for the ancient Germanic tribe also called Frisians. See Frisia. The Frisians are a Germanic ethnic group native to the coastal parts of the Netherlands and Germany. They are concentrated in the Dutch provinces of Friesland and Groningen and, in Germany, East Frisia and North Frisia, that was a part of Denmark until 1864. They inhabit an area known as Frisia. The Frisian languages are still used by 500,000 speakers. Dialects of Frisian are recognized as official languages in both the Netherlands and Germany. History. The ancient Frisian recorded history in the Roman account of Drusus' 12 BC war against the Rhine Germans and the Shochi. They occasionally appear in the accounts of Roman wars against the Germanic tribes of the region, up to and including the revolt of the Batavia around 70 AD. Frisian mercenaries were hired to assist the Roman invasion of Britain in the capacity of cavalry. They are not mentioned again until c. 296, when they were deported into Roman territory as Laeti. The discovery of a type of earthenware unique to 4th century Frisia, called Attribution, shows that an unknown number of them were resettled in Flanders and Kent, probably as Laeti under Roman coercion. From the 3rd through the 5th centuries Frisia would suffer marine transgressions that made most of the land uninhabitable, aggravated by a change to a cooler and wetter climate. Whatever population that the Romans had allowed to remain dropped dramatically, and the coastal lands would remain largely unpopulated for the next 2 centuries. When conditions improved, Frisia would receive an influx of new settlers, mostly Angles and Saxons, who intermarried with what remained of the earlier population. These people would eventually be referred to as Frisians, though they were not necessarily descended from the ancient Frisia. It is these new Frisians who are largely the ancestors of the medieval and modern Frisians. By the end of the 6th century, Frisian territory had expanded westward to the North Sea coast and, in the 7th century, southward down to Dorestad. This furthest extent of Frisian territory is sometimes referred to as Frisia Magna. Early Frisia was ruled by a high king, with the earliest reference to a Frisian king being dated 678. In the early 8th century the Frisian nobles came into increasing conflict with the Franks to their south, resulting in a series of wars in which the Frankish Empire eventually subjugated Frisia in 734. These wars benefited attempts by Anglo-Irish missionaries to convert the Frisian populace to Christianity, in which Saint Willibrord largely succeeded. Sometime after the death of Charlemagne, the Frisian territories were in theory under the control of the Count of Holland, but in practice the Hollandic counts, starting with Count Arnulf in 993, were unable to assert themselves as the sovereign lords of Frisia. The resulting stalemate resulted in a period of time called the Frisian Freedom, a period in which feudalism and serfdom did not exist, and in which the Frisian lands only owed their allegiance to the Holy Roman Emperor. During the 13th century however, the Counts of Holland became increasingly powerful and, starting in 1272, sought to reassert themselves as rightful lords of the Frisian lands in a series of wars, which ended in 1422 with the Hollandic conquest of Western Frisia and with the establishment of a more powerful noble class in central and eastern Frisia. In 1524 Frisia became part of the 17 provinces and in 1568 joined the Dutch revolt against Philip II, King of Spain, heir of the Burgundian territories. Central Frisia has remained a part of the Netherlands ever since. The eastern periphery of Frisia would become part of various German states in Denmark. An old tradition existed in the region of exploitation of peatlands. Language. As both the Anglo-Saxons of England and the early Frisians were formed from largely identical tribal confederacies, their respective languages were very similar. Old Frisian is the most closely related language to Old English, and the modern Frisian dialects are in turn the closest related languages to contemporary English. The Frisian language group itself is divided into 3 mutually unintelligible languages: West Frisian, spoken in the Dutch province of Friesland; Saterland Frisian, spoken in the German municipality of Saterland just south of East Frisia; North Frisian, spoken in the German region of North Frisia on the west coast of Jutland. Of these 3 languages, both Saterland Frisian and North Frisian are endangered. West Frisian is spoken by around 354,000 native speakers and is not threatened. Identity. Today there exists a tripartite division of the Frisians, into North Frisians, East Frisians and West Frisians, caused by Frisia's constant loss of territory in the Middle Ages. The West Frisians in general do not see themselves as part of a larger group of Frisians, and, according to a 1970 poll, identify themselves more with the Dutch than with the East or North Frisians. Therefore the term Frisian, when applied to the speakers of all three Frisian languages, is a linguistic and to some extent cultural concept, not a political one. Culturally, modern West Frisians and the Dutch are rather similar. The main and generally most important difference being that West Frisians speak West Frisian, one of the three sub-branches of the Frisian languages, alongside Dutch. Because of centuries of cohabitation and active participation in Dutch society, as well as being bilingual, these Frisians are not treated as a separate group in Dutch official statistics. Further reading, Greg Wolf, Cryptorix and His Kind. Talking Ethnicity on the Middle Ground, Tom Dirks, Nico Romans, Ethnic Constructs in Antiquity, The Role of Power and Tradition, 207-218. Jos Baselmans, The Early Medieval Use of Ethnic Names from Classical Antiquity. The Case of the Frisians, in Tom Dirks, Nico Romans, Ethnic Constructs in Antiquity, The Role of Power and Tradition, 321-329. See also: Frisia, List of Frisians, Frisian Church in Rome, Frisian Islands, Frisian languages, List of Frisian given names, List of Germanic tribes, references. Works cited: Tacitus, Publius Cornelius, Germania, Behaart, Leo, Opzognade Kelten, Nye Archaeologische Ontkingen tussen Nowards en Ridge, Mattridge, ISBN A978-90-5345-303-2. External links: The Frisian Meeting Place, Lex Frisianum in Latin, Dutch and English, History of the Frisian Folk.